I read a lot of books. Some of them I like,
some of them I don't.
And every once in a while I read a book that sort of worms its way into my brain and just starts arranging furniture because it knows it's going to be setting up camp and staying on my mind for a very long time. The Lies of Locke Lamora is one such book, as well as the subsequent sequels in the Gentleman Bastard Sequence. Oh my god, that was a tongue twister to say. I really didn't know what to expect going into this one, but as often is the case when I don't know what to expect, I really loved it. Two of my friends had spoken very highly of it, and I needed a book to take with me on holiday, and I thought I could knock this one out in a week. So that's what I did. I read it in Scotland. I also decided to read it in Scotland because when I first heard my friends talking about it, I misheard and thought they were saying Locke Lamora, like the Scottish loch. So I thought it was based around a loch, some kind of mystic magical lake. Turns out it wasn't, but I thought it would be right to read it in Scotland anyway, just because I've accidentally associated that book with Scotland in my mind. Of course, this book is not set in Scotland, it is set in the wonderful, fantastically realised city of Cumore. It is basically fantasy Venice. It is an amazing setting. The detail that Scott Lynch goes into in describing what the city looks like and its feel and its character is absolutely unparalleled. Also very refreshing to have a fantasy setting that is not just medieval Europe again. Much as I love that, it is pretty overdone, and it is nice to have a change of pace once in a while. One of the things I really think makes it stand out is the elder glass. There are these weird architectural structures made of this substance called elder glass that was left over by these ancient, unfathomable entities called the Eldrin, who have since gone extinct and no one in the world really knows who or what they were. Only that they were there, now they're gone, and they've left these structures in their wake. And in the city of Cumore, when it's getting towards evening, when the sun is going down, the light refracts through this elder glass to create something called false light, which is this just weird, dazzling spectacle. It's so vividly and beautifully described. I could just so easily picture this location in my mind. It's an absolutely captivating and original and refreshing setting for this book to be in. I absolutely loved that whole aspect of it. Another absolutely glowing standout from this book was the characters themselves. Locke Lamora and the supporting cast of the Gentleman Bastards. Oh, I absolutely love the Gentleman Bastards, I love what they're about. That's the real Team GB right here. Really engaging, vivid, endearing characters that just leap to life off the page. I absolutely loved Locke himself, and the camaraderie between everyone else on the Gentleman Bastards, the banter and the dialogue and the relationships, they were absolutely some of my favourite parts of this book to read. You just get so endeared to the characters so quickly within them appearing in the story. I absolutely adore the really close friendship between Locke and Jean and the loyalty and love between those two, which is just made better by the fact that when they first met, Locke absolutely hated him. How all beautiful friendships begin. Scott Lynch definitely knows how to make you care about his characters. And once you do care about the characters, Scott Lynch also knows how to take your heart in his hands and just put a blade in there and just twist it around as the characters experience suffering and pain as the plot goes on and the villain starts making moves. With some parts of this book that were heartwarming and some parts that were absolutely heartbreaking and devastating. This book made me feel things! Speaking of the sparkling dialogue and the banter and the humour between all the characters, another thing that I really enjoyed about this book was the humour in the prose itself. I genuinely laughed out loud multiple times reading this book just from the way Scott Lynch described things alone. I like that even though some parts of this book get a bit dark, there's always a chance for a little bit of levity. And the levity never feels like it's undercutting the darkness, it always feels like they're working in tandem together. That was done really well. Speaking of the villain, remember when I said that Scott Lynch knows how to make you care about the characters? He's also very good at making you absolutely loathe the villain. Every move that the Grey King made just made me hate him more and more and really, really root for Locke and his friends to come out on top in the end and defeat him. Like, the moment that he comes into the story, you're like, I hate this guy. I also really appreciate the feeling of sort of helplessness that he causes among the main characters. Like, it really feels like they have no choice but to play into his hands at certain points. The threat that the Grey King represents is never downplayed, and the fact that the Gentleman Bastards feel so helpless in his grasp just plays more into the fact that you absolutely despise him and want to see him get his comeuppance by the end. It definitely gets you invested in where the story's going. Something else that I really liked about Locke specifically is that he is first and foremost an actor. He and the Gentleman Bastards are basically schemers and plotters who do these elaborate cons to steal from the nobility of the city. And I just absolutely loved seeing them come up with their different ideas and schemes for things. I love that in their base of operations they have an entire room that is just full of costumes that they call the wardrobe. As someone who has a history in the theatre, that was a very endearing aspect of the book to me. Something that struck close to my heart. One thing I wasn't so sure on about the book, and I'm glad I had prior warning of it from those two friends who recommended it, is the non-linear narrative style that the book relies on. Especially in the first couple of chapters, there is a lot of cutting between the past and present and then future, and then it gets a bit disorienting. I do think it got a lot better as the book went on. Maybe I just got more used to it as the book went on, or maybe I think Scott Lynch found a better way to employ that device. The only other real flaw I found that I had with this book is it did seem like there was a lack of female characters in comparison to how many male characters there were. There was Nazca, there was the twins, there was Madame Salvara, and there was the spider, and that was pretty much it. And we hear a lot about Sabitha, who clearly has some sort of romantic past with Locke, but we never actually see her, even in one of the many flashbacks that this book has. Hi there, so I'm just going through and editing my Locke Lamora review, and realised when I was talking about the female characters in the Lies of Locke Lamora specifically, I was talking about how it's kind of a weakness that there aren't that many female characters, but I would feel remiss if I didn't mention that the female characters we do get in Lies of Locke Lamora are all really good characters. They're all very well developed and they have agency, and they are good female characters. There's just not that many of them in the first book. But yeah, they are good and enjoyable to read. Also, you might like to know that my cat is here. However, I will say lack of female characters is not a problem with this book specifically. It is more of an overall fantasy genre issue, and in recent years, and even in the later books in this series, that problem is getting rectified more and more, and you're seeing a lot more female characters with agency in fantasy, which is a good thing. So yeah, while I was a little disappointed with that in this book, by the next book that was completely rectified. Speaking of the next book, very shortly after finishing Lies, I moved straight on to Red Seas Under Red Skies and Republic of Thieves. Just blasted through the series during lockdown. You could say that my lockdown was more of a lockdown. Because Locke, as I said, the Gentleman Bastard Sequence has begun to live rent-free in my brain. I also loved this book just as much, if not maybe more, than Lies of Locke Lamora. I really, really enjoyed the story in this one, and the way that the characters developed after the events of the first one. As I said, the female characters I thought were a lot stronger in this book, and there were more of them. There were lots of female characters in positions of power, especially Ezri and Zamira. Absolutely loved them. I also loved that this book, in case you couldn't guess by the cover and title, deals with piracy. The Gentleman Bastards go onto the high seas in this one. And I enjoyed that in this world, there's a thing that it's bad luck to go out to sea on a boat without a woman on board, because women generally make better sailors. I just love that as an inversion of the stereotypical thing that it's bad luck to have a woman on board, like you see in Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought that was a neat and really cool twist to add in there. Also, bad luck to go on board without cats, which I appreciated as a cat owner and a cat lover, as well as the fact that Locke pretty much gets a cat in this one. Even though he keeps saying he's not getting attached to it, I'm pretty sure that by the end of the whole series, Locke and Regal are going to be like this. So Red Seas Under Red Skies was also a fantastic read. Also, I love the title of this one. I think that's my favourite title of them as well. It's just so poetic, you know? As for Republic of Thieves, this is the book where we finally do meet Sabitha, both in the flashbacks and she comes back into play in the main story, and she was worth the wait. She was an absolutely fantastic character. It was great seeing her as a foil to Locke, because Locke is the schemer and the planner in the Gentleman Bastards, but she also fills that role, and so they're both trying to outdo each other mentally while they're facing off against each other in this competition. I enjoyed that Republic of Thieves had a little less high stakes than the others. It was nice to just have a breath of fresh air after everything that had come before. I also enjoyed that in the flashbacks we got the Gentleman Bastards were having to put on a play to hone their acting skills. Like I mentioned, I've done acting, I've been involved with the theatre, so that again struck quite close to my heart. I was very much a happy boy reading those chapters. Republic of Thieves pretty much was the perfect, I think, next step for this series. The concept itself of them having to work for people who they do not have a good track record relationship with, as well as bringing Sabitha back into the main series. That was everything that I felt was maybe missing from the last two, and it was just a really great fun read. The Thorn of Emberlyn, next book in the series, is I believe going to come out on the 12th of October, so I am absolutely avidly looking forward to that one. Cannot wait to see where the series goes next, what new adventure awaits these guys. The Lies of Locke Lamora, Red Seas Under Red Skies, the Republic of Thieves, the whole Gentleman Bastard Sequence. I had no idea what to expect when I started Lies of Locke Lamora, but now the Gentleman Bastard Sequence is absolutely one of my favourite fantasy series of all time. That is up there with First Law and Lord of the Rings, hands down. It is not an over-exaggeration to say that I am enamored with this series and the characters in it. These have been some of my favourite books that I've read this year, one of my favourite fantasy series that I've read, full stop. If anyone watching this video has not yet read the Gentleman Bastard Sequence, I cannot recommend it enough. Do yourself a favour, pick up Lies of Locke Lamora and get into it. It is a wonderful, beautiful time with heartbreak, heartwarmingness, humour, excellent writing and storytelling, and fantastic, wonderful, splendid characters. One more thing, I have a prediction. The fact that Jean, I'm not sure if it's Jean or Jean, in my head I was pronouncing it Jean, but I heard another book reviewer call them Jean recently. Let me know in the comments about that. But I have a prediction that the fact that he keeps using Tavern Callas as his alias is gonna come back around at some point in the series, and they're gonna have to either fight the Temple of Azagila or maybe work for them. I think it's gonna come around and play back into the story in some way. That's my prediction for the Gentleman Bastard sequence. Can't wait to be wrong. If you've read these books, let me know what you thought of them in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the things I said in this review. If you like this video, then please give it a big ol' like. If you want to see more from me, then please do subscribe to the channel. That's pretty much all I have to say on the matter, so thank you all so much for watching this video, and as always, I'll see you in my next one. As well as the subsequent sequels in the Gentleman Bastard sequence.